There are a lot of completely ridiculous platinum trophies on the PlayStation. Some we've actually already mentioned in a list called 10 near impossible trophies on the PS4. On that one we talked about RDR2, Crash Bandicoot Remastered, Final Fantasy IX, DMC5, Wolfenstein 2, Hyper Light Drifter, Friday the 13th, I Am Bread, Elder Scrolls Online, and Crypt of the Necrodancer. But those are hardly the only impossibly hard trophies to get on PlayStation systems, and in fact, pretty much all the games we're talking about on here are just as hard as those games were. Difficulty is a subjective thing, but I don't think anyone will disagree that getting the platinum on these games requires a level of skill and dedication that few players will ever be able to reach. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 of the hardest games to platinum. Starting off at number 10, it's Crash Bandicoot 4. A recent but infamous game. Crash Bandicoot 4 is very challenging. It looks like a pretty easy platformer, but don't let its colorful art style and kid-friendly world trick you, because this game does not mess around. Just beating it normally is no joke, but getting 100% completion is just straight up nuts. Probably two of the hardest to get trophies require you to earn all of the platinum time trial relics, and one where you have to get all the insanely perfect relics in the game. The time trials are an ordeal by themselves. In the older games, you could get away with a gold, but not here. You have to get a platinum on every stage, and many of these require near perfect times to get the platinum relic. The insanely perfect relics are really annoying too. They require you to play through every level without dying once while breaking all the crates. This is a game with sometimes very long stages with boxes near the end that are easily missable, so if you miss one during that automatic scrolling sequence, then you have to restart the entire level over again. And that's on top of the tedious stuff like finishing all the flashback tapes and the inverted mode, which is just the regular game but inverted, sometimes with annoying filters over everything. This platinum is incredibly tough to get, but in comparison to many of the other platinum trophies on this list, it's actually not that bad. Doesn't mean that this game isn't incredibly hard, but somehow everything else on here is actually worse. Moving on to number 9 is Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. The Ninja Gaiden games are just no joke. Finishing the game on standard difficulty is pretty difficult, but if you want to platinum it, then you really have to go above and beyond. This one is one of those platinums that forces players to play through the game multiple times, according to this guide on PSN profiles. Specifically, you're going to have to beat it at least 7 times if you want to get a platinum, which is excessive. The achievement for beating the game on the Master Ninja difficulty is pretty wild all by itself, but this is a difficulty where basic grabs can kill you instantly, and like half the enemies in this game have some kind of grab move, so good luck with that. The absolute worst thing about getting the platinum in this game are these team missions though. There's 35 in total, and while some can be finished with an AI partner, certain ones are completely impossible to do without a friend, and a friend that has a similar skill level to yours if you want any chance of finishing them. So no matter how good you are at the game, unless you find someone else who's almost equally as good and convince them to help you out, there's pretty much no way you can get this trophy. It's bad enough when a game asks one person to be a master, but this one wants 2. And number 8 is Max Payne 3. Like Wolfenstein's Mein Leben achievement, this is another game with one truly brutal challenge that stops most players dead in their tracks. Actually, getting the platinum in this game is completely impossible now that Rockstar has shut down the servers, but at least at one time it was legitimately possible to platinum the game, but it was a huge pain. This game has the usual annoying trophies like beating the game on hard and completing so many multiplayer grinds, but the real challenge is a New York Minute, where you have to complete the game in a New York Minute hardcore difficulty. The standard New York Minute is a very tough enough mode. You start each level with only 1 minute on the clock, and you have to kill enemies to add time for yourself. If you die once, you restart the whole mission again, and remember this is Max Payne 3 we're talking about, so there's a lot of stopping and starting, and unskippable cutscenes that are there to annoy you. Hardcore only makes one change, but it's very big. You have to beat the entire game playing this time trial mode without dying once. If you die, you restart the entire thing from the start, so you pretty much have to be perfect. The only way you can get through this is by memorizing enemy placements and painkiller pickup locations. Because, I mean, literally one bad encounter can mean hours of lost progress. Basically, if you wanted this platinum back then you had to be a speedrunner whether you liked it or not. Moving on to number 7, it's the Wipeout Omega Collection. One of the all-time toughest platinums to get, and a PlayStation exclusive comes from this game. Racing games often ask a lot of the player, but few are as fast and disorienting as the Wipeout games while also being brutally difficult, so it really takes a certain kind of player to get good at this game. If you don't have split-second reaction time and an almost scary level of focus, there's no way you're getting some of these achievements, period. The absolute worst of the time trials, especially the Elite Pass / Gold Medal ones, because the time requirements they're just brutal. It'll take hours and hours to perfect racing a single track, and the smallest imperfection or mistake can lose the run. There's no Iron Man BS here, just some incredibly long, difficult times that will seem totally impossible for first-time players. And let's be frank, for some long-time players too. The worst of them are these developer times set by a guy named Zico, which you better know this game inside and out, otherwise matching their almost supernaturally good race times is basically impossible for many players. There are a few minor tricks that can make this achievement a little easier, but only just a little. This is one of those trophies that requires a level of skill in the game that few people ever actually develop. It's nuts.
And number 6 is Aliens Fireteam Elite, a relatively new game that just doesn't mess around with difficulty. Aliens Fireteam Elite's trophies for beating the game on extreme and then insane difficulty are exactly what they are labeled: extreme and insane. To even have a chance on insane difficulty, you need a minimum of 4 maxed out players. They gotta be experts at the game, and they gotta work together in perfect harmony. Basically, you need an actual elite fire team if you want to get the trophy. That's how hardcore it is. So unlike Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 that requires 2 players to be experts at the game, this one needs 4 experts. I mean, at least it's a little more fresh in people's minds, so it's easier to get online and find other people to play with, but still, expect a lot of trial and error.
You and me both. Let's do this.
Because when they call this difficulty insane, they are not joking.
At number 5 is Splasher, an indie game that even I've never heard of. This is a game a lot of people on PSN profiles claim is even harder to platinum than the notoriously difficult Super Meat Boy. It's got pretty much every annoying and challenging thing you have to do for an achievement. Like, there's platinum medals that are, of course, very difficult to get. There's deathless medals in the Super Meat Boy style game where you die every other second. There's speed runs you have to finish. It's all here, and it's straight up incredibly hard to do. The hardest is the gotta catch 'em all speed run, where you have to 100% the game in under 74 minutes. Like, just a couple of deaths will be enough to end this run, and it's infamous among PSN profiles trophy hunters as being one of the most challenging trophies in any game. And these are people who do ridiculous challenges for fun. If these guys think a game is one of the hardest ever, I'm inclined to believe them.
Moving on to number 4, it's Tetris Effect, another one where the roadblock to platinum is just a single trophy. The trophy is titled Seriously? Seriously, which requires that players get an SS rank for every single stage in the journey mode. High-level Tetris play is really something else, and this game expects absolute mastery if you want to even get within the possibility of getting an SS rank on a stage. There's a reason the trophy is called Seriously, after all. Just to give you an example of how hard this is, a PlayStation Trophies user named Elegy managed to get this platinum by playing the game for about 320 hours. They talk about times where it really felt like they just couldn't play any better, and they literally had to train their brain to get faster at Tetris, which is a lot to ask just to get a platinum trophy in a video game. Tetris Effect is one of those games that's easy to get into, but if you want to get the platinum trophy, the skill ceiling might as well be a brick wall.
And number 3 is Star Ocean: The Last Hope. For whatever reason, this random-ass JRPG decided to go completely insane with its trophies. The Star Ocean games are, they're an odd series as it is. There's like a ton of weird little secrets and systems to investigate, learn about, and ultimately master. Like, even compared to your standard JRPG, there's a lot going on here. And doing anything is pretty much impossible on one playthrough, but of course that's what the game wants you to do. Finish every quest, get all the weapon data, create every possible item, get all the optional character endings, and open every single chest in the game. All this stuff is also easily missable. Like, it's up there with Final Fantasy X2 with the amount of small things you can permanently miss. So if you want any chance of finishing some of these trophies, you pretty much have to follow a guide exactly. Otherwise, you're just going to spend another 100 hours playing through the game again to make sure you actually get everything this time. And on top of that, they expect you to beat the game, this big bloated JRPG, a minimum of 3 times at different difficulty levels, which is by itself a ridiculous time sink.
That's really the thing that makes this one so hard. None of the achievements are actually all that hard to finish, but it's all such a big waste of time that very few people will have the patience to get the platinum. The PlayStation Trophies Guide puts Star Ocean The Last Hope's time to platinum at a ridiculous 450 to 1,000 plus hours if you want to finish it, and I think that number speaks for itself. And number 2 is Street Fighter V. Now, there are few games as purely skill focused as fighting games, so it only makes sense for these games to have like pretty tough achievements. One of the hardest of all time, for whatever reason, is Street Fighter V, which has 2 nearly impossible achievements that are really only possible for the absolute best players in the world. There's the Let's Fight Someone Strong trophy, which has the simple achievement to reach Golden League in ranked matches, and the Back from Hell achievement, where you have to complete survival mode on the hardest difficulty, which is, hell. The first one, Let's Fight Someone Strong, it's simple sounding, like it's not complex to do the thing, it's just hard, unless you're like a Street Fighter god. This is a long-running series with a lot of very talented players out there, so if you want any chance of standing toe-to-toe with the best, you're gonna need to put in some serious practice. Golden League is the highest level of Street Fighter V play, and getting there means you're pretty much in the absolute top tier of players. While that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be good enough to be winning tournaments, you've got to be able to hang with the players that do. The other trophy, Back from Hell, seems like it wouldn't be that hard in comparison, but it actually might be worse. To finish survival mode, you have to beat 100 fights back to back, and on hell difficulty, that means fighting opponents that are basically reading your inputs and playing nearly perfectly. To make matters worse, you have to do it online, so if the game servers ever time out or go down, then you immediately lose all your progress, and you have to start over. So on top of being really good at the game, if you want this trophy, you also have to be kinda lucky, which is not a good combo. And finally, at number 1, it is Gran Turismo 5, one of the very few games to ever get a 10 out of 10 difficulty on PSN profiles and PlayStation trophies. Gran Turismo 5 on the PS3 is considered by the community to be one of the hardest games to platinum ever, for one simple reason: the time trials are just plain brutal. And that's really all there is to it, too. If you want to platinum this game, you gotta get a gold rating on every race, license test, and event, which doesn't sound easy, and doing it is easier said than done. It took some people nearly 10 years to get the platinum in this game. That's how ridiculously hard some of these times are, and even though the servers shut down and it's not possible to get the platinum anymore without doing some frankly shady stuff, the time trials in this game are so legendarily hard that they deserve a special mention on this list. When people are seriously suggesting that they should add an 11 or 12 on the difficulty scale just because of this one game, that's probably when it's safe to say it's kind of challenging. And by kinda, I mean impossibly. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.